All right, everyone, we start off today talking about the classified documents scandal currently embroiling Biden. Now a staffer as well who had access, and possibly Hunter Biden. Now, the other day, Garland did appoint a preliminary special counsel to look into whether an investigation needs to proceed further than that. It doesn't really matter. They've created for themselves actually a win-win scenario here. And I think that this is part of the reason for what we're seeing here. The reason why something is reasonably nondescript as a handful of lower-level classified documents being in a location where they weren't supposed to be. By the way, there is a difference. It is an apples to oranges comparison with the Trump Mar-a-Lago thing, because those documents were actually secured. Trump was working explicitly with the government to make sure the documents were not improperly accessed. In Biden's case, some of them were in his garage, next to his car, next to his sports car. The problem is that Hunter Biden apparently had access to that particular garage, as did other individuals who should not be, in proximity to classified material. There's no evidence that that happened at the Mar-a-Lago. I would notice that there is that comparison. You're not seeing from any legacy media outlet. Here's the win-win for the deep state, though. Let's say that they decide to actually go further than the preliminary investigation, and they say, well, technically, Mr. Biden, we're sorry, but you did, commit, a violation of the Espionage Act. Now we realize it's overbroad. We've talked about reforming it now for some time. The Republicans will probably jump on that and use that to impeach Biden. Where does that leave Donald Trump? As in the legacy media, all the reporting is that what Trump did was demonstrably and horribly worse. Now, it's not. As the president, he can declassify things, then VP Biden can't. The documents in that case were secured. With Biden, it appears that Chinese espionage agents, his crackhead son, etc., may have had access to the material, although there's no way for them to determine that because of the unsecured nature of these locations, potentially. That being said, it doesn't appear that Biden willfully took a bunch of documents home with him for any particular reason. There's no proof at this particular moment that they were compromised. Not sure if it's a national security threat, depending on what the classified material is. So they could throw Biden under the bus. They'd probably get rid of Biden. He could resign. Then he could say, well, my last act as president today before I resign here is to say that Trump should be in jail or something like that. So they can kill two birds with one stone. If you don't want Biden to run again and you're afraid of Trump, you can attack them both via that vector. Or conversely, and here's the other possible win, Biden is upheld in his actions. The DOJ, which is run by Biden, investigates Biden and finds no particular wrongdoing. They wiffle ball it like a Hillary Clinton deal, like with the Comey speech. Well, yeah, the law may have been broken, but there was no malice, so whatever. It's water under the bridge. The FBI creating a Clinton defense that no one else, by the way, has ever successfully used. I lean towards them probably just saying there's no problem here and quietly retiring the story. But it does stink a little bit what's going on. To be clear, there may be shenanigans afoot. This may actually be a setup in part to destroy Biden's presidency. Then, of course, he's not going to run again. It gives him an exit. He simply resigns. He can then later on chuckle about it and say, well, also, I was getting too old. I needed more bran muffins and more sleep in Rehoboth Beach. And then also, at least in the public sentiment, even absent charges, sours people on Trump, because the legacy media will invite them to put two and two together and compare the two and say, well, this is also evidence there's no deep state. Merrick Garland actually looked into to Joe Biden. They never bothered to do that with Donald Trump. This is evidence of a far-right conspiracy in the FBI or something like that. You could do some vast social damage. And the lemmings will be taken in by it if that happens, by the way. The majority of the public will go along with the lie because they're lemmings. Unfortunately, that is the point to which we have come to. The cat is stress shitting right now because I won't let her sit in front of here, in front of the screen. She does this every morning. Just to be clear, again, the trajectory is a negative one with regards to cat behavior in this household. And I'm clanking anyway. It's all good. Now, again, what I suspect happened here is that the documents were misfiled. As far as the garage documents, that second haul is a little bit more important than the first. The first, at least, was in a rudimentary facility sort of content, at UPenn, of course. Yeah, Chinese spies may have had access to it, but, you know, there is a guard that wanders around at night. A garage, though, that's a totally different level, especially one that Hunter Biden was smoking crack in. They should test the documents for crack residue, and I bet anything they'll come back positive, and that would be even funnier. There's one other problem. Garland, in his initial motion, has explicitly limited the investigation, the preliminary one, to these 2 batches of documents, even while they are actively searching for other potential batches of documents. Does this indicate that there's a more damning haul somewhere and they told Garland, hey, look, there's a stack of documents that have been in an unsecured storage shed in West Virginia for the last 3 years or some crazy shit like that. We're going to get fucked in the ass, by the way, if this is discovered, so please limit the investigation. Okay, this is all, trust us, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We will swear up and down that we told you that was all the documents that they were. We did a thorough check, and we made absolutely sure. That's a little fishy, too. Again, possible shenanigans are going on here. One part cover-up, one part potential hatchet job that's really designed to knock Biden out of the way, because they don't want him to be the 24 candidate, while also hazarding a potential Trump run. That appears to be the potential shenanigan that they may be going with. We, of course, will have to wait and see more. I expect that there will be more updates on this for some time. If it gets too damning for the liberals, though, because a lot of people are calling them hypocrites right now, although they're successfully aiming it at their detractors as well, I would point out, then they'll retire the story. The Biden White House, of course, as you know, directly and explicitly coordinates with CNN and other groups on economic news. There's no reason to believe that that direct line of communication wouldn't be used to screw with people's minds over this scandal either. At the end of the day, I do not suspect there to be any great repercussions for Biden, etc. over this, because it's too big a political inconvenience, and you may actually see, look carefully for evidence of this, behind the scenes, the anti-Biden faction actually clamoring to throw him under the bus, while the pro-Biden faction says, no, that's a terrible idea. You could see some factional infighting over the coming months. That's about all. Peace out.